This is the Green Plant Show. It's not the Plant Green Show. This is my favorite show because it is my show. Still working on that jingle, y'all. Gonna have it any day. Hey y'all, it's Sarah. Today I am talking about my very favorite houseplant. Finally, here she is. Isn't she beautiful? I love my Hoya Hindu Rope, my Hoya Carnosa Compacta. Hoya Carnosa Compacta. Compacta because of these compact, awesome leaves that I love so much. This is the one, y'all. If I had to save one of my plants because it was all burning down, I would take this one. It is my favorite. I have had it for 3 years now, and it makes me so happy. Hoyas are slow growers. You may have heard that before. This is a Hoya plant, and they grow slow. They grow slow, but the thing is, once they're long, once they've got some length on them, they will start growing faster. So hang in there, guys. If you've had one for a year or two, keep on keeping on, okay? It's gonna be worth it. Once you find that happy spot for your Hoya, one day you're gonna look over there and it is going to bloom. My wedding day, my children's birth, and the day my Hoya bloomed. These are the happiest days of my life. I was always told that if your Hoya blooms, don't move it from that spot because that is the sweet spot. It's getting all the light it needs. You are being a great plant parent and you have a bloom. The blooms. If the waxy petals weren't enough, they smell like chocolate. Y'all, these flowers, they smell like chocolate. It is like something out of a fairy tale. So if you don't have a Hoya, get you a Hoya because you're gonna be waiting for a while, so you need to go ahead. Y'all should have done them when and got them last year, 2 years ago, for real. Hoyas are my favorite plant, and here is why. I don't like to water my plants. I like those plants that are just sit it and forget it, and that's what a Hoya is. You water them when they are bone dry, and that is it. That's the only time you need to water them. Then you need to set them in a bright spot and leave them alone. And about the time you remember that it's there and you haven't touched it in a while, then you'll go and lift it up and it'll be light and you'll know that it's time to water. Now, specifically the Hoya Hindu Rope, Hoya Carnosa Compacta. You'll start squeezing towards the top of the older leaves and they will be squishy is the best way I can describe it. They'll be a little squishier, and then when they don't need water, they'll be kind of taunt hard. Not gonna say hard, I'm gonna say taunt. They'll be tough, they're just feeling succulent. They feel like they're full of water. So you won't need to water then. You'll pick it up, it will be light. So get to know your Hoya, know about how much it weighs whenever you have watered it. Finally, this one, reason I was waiting to make this video is because I wanted to film myself watering this Hoya. These leaves, check out these leaves, right? I can't really get a rag and dust these off, and it does get dusty. There's pet hair in my house, and I guess my Hoya likes it because it bloomed this year with the combination of all this animal hair. I'll have to research that, but it'll collect on here, so every time I water it, I go ahead and shower it. One reason I like to shower it is to get the dust off. Another reason is it's pest prevention. Y'all, do not let this plant get a pest. Be watching it. Be watching it close. Look in these leaves constantly and shower it off too. That's just good prevention. Don't let this one get a bug, y'all. It is gonna be look at me, nightmare of a depestation. That's not a word at all. That's not a word at all. I usually shower it off in the shower. That gets the dust off. It takes care of any kind of pest possibility, and then I let it sit in that water. I let it sit in that water for about an hour or two, and then I'll come back around and the water that it was sitting in its little dish will be gone. I'll pick up my plant, it will be heavy, and I know that it got what it needed. Watering is a big deal with Hoyas. Don't overdo it with the watering. Keep it on the drier side. Just as important as the watering rules with Hoyas is going to be the light rules. Okay, so I know I've got you excited about Hoyas because you should be. You should be excited about Hoyas. However, if you do not have the light in your house, then your Hoya is not going to grow. Like, it's already a slow grower, but if it's not getting the light, it's just not going to do well. A south-facing window is what I suggest. Why I say south-facing is because it is getting the most light during the day. South windows are going to get you the most light, so it wants to be right there. It wants that bright, indirect light. The leaves will probably scorch if you're giving it direct light. However, I do kind of work mine up to it, and it can tolerate it sometimes. I would be concerned with scorching the leaves to put it in direct sunlight, but I know that if you work it up to that level of sunshine, I think they can handle it. But bright light is a must. If you don't have the light, you're gonna have to get some artificial lights to help, or pick another plant. But I know you want the Hoyas. Same. The soil is a big deal with Hoyas as well, because you're not going to want anything that holds a lot of moisture. The regular potting mix in the store is great for most things, but if you are wanting to put your Hoya in a pot, then the soil that you're going to want is going to be made up of potting mix, perlite, pumice, some kind of rocky rock, and then some orchid bark too. So I put one part of each, mix it all together, and that's what I'm going to pot my Hoyas in. But don't be in a hurry to repot your Hoyas. They like to be root bound. Have you ever heard of plants that like that? They want to have some tight quarters to live in. They like to be root bound. So don't repot your Hoya, especially if you just got it. Just let it be. Don't, maybe wait a couple of years. I have not repotted this one since I've had it, so that's over 3 years ago. So it's time. I know that it's time to repot this one because I am having to water it more than I used to, and all the soil has just drawn up around the roots. Like there's none touching the sides ever. So I know that it's time, but Hoyas don't really tolerate repotting extremely well. They get upset. So I haven't been in a hurry to do it. But what I know I need to do before I repot this, in case things don't go well, I'm going to propagate it. I'm going to make this plant a mom. I'm going to take some cuttings off of these long, beautiful stems, and I'm going to put the nodes where the leaves meet the stem either in the soil or in the water, and it's gonna make me more of these. She gonna have babies, and once I have other plants established, once I have her children off and running and they're looking good, then I will repot her this spring. It's coming. So I need to go ahead and, she needs to go ahead and reproduce in case she dies. This is sick. Fertilization is important, and they need it. Plants need food. I fertilize my Hindu rope once a month in the growing season with a water-soluble fertilizer at 1/4 of the strength that's recommended. You'll read the directions on the back. If it tells you to put 4 pumps into your watering can, then put 1 pump. Just don't over-fertilize it. It's important, but it's not as vital as light and water. So fertilize, yes, but don't overdo it. My Hindu rope doesn't need humidity, but it certainly likes it. And since I want it to grow big and I want it to give me blooms, then I'm going to give it everything it wants. I keep all my Hoyas on a pebble tray, and you just put rocks in a tray, and then you set the plant on top of the rocks, and you keep those rocks watered. You don't let your plants sit in water. They're sitting on the pebbles. And so as the water evaporates from the pebbles, it creates humidity right around your plant, and it is perfect. I took a couple of cuttings 2 weeks ago and I put them in water, hoping that they would have enough roots by now to pot them, but 2 weeks ain't long enough in the winter, y'all. I'm gonna leave those in the water because I'm gonna pot those up, but today we are going to propagate. It's gonna be scary because I'm gonna cut off a pretty good piece. Where was it? I had already decided where it was gonna be. It's gonna be you. So I'm gonna cut right here. I'm gonna cut right here, and it's gonna be okay. It's for your own good, okay? You're gonna love being a mother. It's very rewarding. Okay, well that's it. Now we wait. There's gonna be a part 2 to this video where I'm potting up my propagations. Hopefully they grow roots so that I can do that video. But this is part 1, and then part 2 will be when these are ready to pot up. The water propagations I'm still gonna keep in that window so that I can watch for roots and see that hole, how long that takes. And then I'm gonna be keeping this in a sunny window as well and checking back on my greenhouse here to see how they do. For some reason, I feel like these are gonna do better. So once they have some roots on them, we'll pot them up. Got to get some babies out of you. The Hoya Carnosa Compacta, the #1 plant on my top 10 houseplants of 2022. You earned that spot because you are magnificent. This is my favorite plant, y'all. If you do not have a Hoya, get one. If you see this one in particular, get it. Especially if it has a long vine like this, you will not be sorry. And I hope your Hoya blooms and you're gonna be so happy. So anyways, I will see y'all next week. And until then, y'all keep growing forward. Bye. Oh no, I don't need you. Oh no, I don't need you. I don't need you right now. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. All right, quit. Quit. No. Go on, get.